The pain hit first, a dull, throbbing ache that pulsed through his skull like a hammer against an anvil. Then came the smell. Copper and rot, thick enough to taste. Smoke, burning rubber. Something else underneath it all. Something wrong that his instincts screamed at him to recognize but couldn't place. Logan's eyes snapped open. Darkness pressed in from all sides, broken only by the flickering orange glow of fires somewhere beyond his vision. He was lying on his back in an alley, the asphalt cold and slick beneath him. Rain fell in a steady drizzle, mixing with something darker that pooled around the overturned dumpster 3 feet away. His hand moved to his head, fingers coming away wet. Blood. His blood. Already drying. The wound was gone. He pushed himself up, every muscle protesting. His body felt like it had been through a meat grinder, but there were no injuries, no cuts, no breaks. Just the phantom memory of agony and the metallic tang of blood in his mouth. His clothes were torn, soaked through with rain and filth. Dog tags hung around his neck. No name, just a serial number he didn't recognize. Where the hell was he? A sound cut through the rain, shuffling, dragging footsteps, moaning. Logan's head whipped toward the alley entrance. 3 figures stumbled into view, silhouetted against the firelight beyond. They moved wrong, jerky, uncoordinated, like puppets with half their strings cut. One of them wore what might have been a business suit once. Another was in a dress, torn and stained. The third was missing most of its face. "Hey!" Logan called out, his voice rough as gravel. "You folks all right?" They turned toward him as one. Empty eyes, mouths hanging open, skin the color of old meat. The businessman lunged. Instinct took over. Logan's fist drove forward, connecting with the thing's jaw hard enough to snap its head back. It should have dropped. Should have been lights out. Instead, it stumbled, then came at him again, fingers clawing for his throat. "What the—" The other 2 were closing in. Logan grabbed the businessman by the shoulders and shoved, sending it crashing into the woman. They went down in a tangle of limbs, but the faceless one kept coming, its remaining teeth bared in a rictus grin. Logan's hands came up instinctively, and something inside him responded. Snicked. 3 gleaming metal claws burst from between his knuckles. 12 inches of razor-sharp adamantium that caught the firelight like liquid mercury. Pain lanced through his hands. Familiar pain, the kind he knew in his bones even if he couldn't remember why. The faceless thing impaled itself on his claws before he could even react. Black blood sprayed across his chest as he jerked back, the creature sliding off his claws and collapsing in a heap. It didn't get back up. Logan stared at his hands, at the claws, at the blood dripping from their tips. What am I? The other 2 were on their feet again, stumbling toward him with single-minded hunger. No fear, no pain, just need. His claws flashed twice. The businessman's head tumbled from its shoulders. The woman dropped with her chest carved open, black ichor pumping from the wound. Silence. Just the rain and the distant sound of screams. Logan retracted his claws with another snicked, watching the wounds in his knuckles seal themselves in seconds. Healing. Fast. Too fast. He'd seen a lot of things in his life, the fragments he could remember anyway, but nothing like this. Movement caught his eye. At the end of the alley, more figures were shambling into view, dozens of them drawn by the noise. By the smell of fresh blood, maybe. Son of a bitch! Logan turned and ran deeper into the alley, jumping a chain-link fence in one fluid motion. His body knew how to move, how to fight, even if his mind was full of holes. Muscle memory, training from somewhere, someone. He emerged onto a main street and stopped dead. Raccoon City, the name came to him from a bullet-riddled sign hanging askew from a storefront, was dying. Cars burned in the middle of intersections. Bodies lay everywhere, some still, others twitching as they tried to rise on broken legs. The walking corpses filled the streets, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. A police barricade had been overrun, officers torn apart, still clutching their weapons. And in the distance, beyond the smoke and chaos, a massive wall separated the city from the outside world. Concrete and steel, topped with razor wire and guard towers. Nothing was getting in, nothing was getting out. Logan's enhanced hearing picked up gunfire 3 blocks north, screaming. Someone was still alive out there, still fighting. Every instinct told him to run the other way, to find a hole, crawl through it, and never look back. This wasn't his fight. He didn't even know who he was, let alone why he should care about this hellhole. But the screaming continued. Desperate. Terrified. Damn it! Logan's claws extended again as he broke into a run, heading toward the sound of the dying. The gunfire was coming from a pharmacy 2 blocks up, its windows shattered and door hanging off its hinges. Logan approached low and fast, claws extended, his enhanced senses cataloging threats. 20, maybe 30 of those things surrounding the building, more shambling in from side streets. The air reeked of death and something chemical, tear gas maybe, or something worse. A woman's voice rang out from inside. "Conserve your ammo, headshots only." A pistol barked 3 times. 2 of the creatures at the entrance dropped. The third kept coming. Logan hit the crowd of undead from behind like a freight train, his claws carved through rotted flesh and brittle bone, opening throats and splitting skulls. The creatures didn't react to pain. They couldn't, but they could be destroyed. Decapitation worked. So did massive trauma to the brain. He learned fast, adapting his fighting style with each kill. A corpse in a security uniform grabbed his shoulder. Logan spun, claws ripping through its ribcage, and kicked it into 3 more. They went down like bowling pins. His healing factor worked overtime, sealing bites and scratches almost as fast as they appeared. The creature's teeth couldn't pierce his skin deeply enough to do lasting damage, and whatever infection they carried didn't seem to affect him. Small blessings. He fought his way to the pharmacy entrance, clearing a path through the horde. Inside, he could see 3 figures, 2 men in what remained of police uniforms, and a woman with shoulder-length brown hair in tactical gear, a handgun gripped in both hands. "Inside!" she shouted. "Now!" Logan didn't argue. He dove through the doorway as she and the cops opened fire, dropping the closest threats. Together, they shoved a heavy shelf against the entrance. It wouldn't hold long, but it might buy them minutes. The woman rounded on him, gun raised. "Who the hell are you?" Logan retracted his claws, holding up his hands. Blood, black and red, covered him from head to toe. "Easy, I'm not one of them." "That's obvious." Her eyes were hard, assessing, professional. "Those claws. What are you, some kind of BOW?" "A what?" "Bioorganic weapon. Umbrella's creations." She kept the gun steady. "You're not infected. You're not turning. But you're sure as hell not normal." One of the cops, a kid who couldn't be more than 25, stepped forward. "Jill, maybe we should—" "Stay back, Danny." She didn't take her eyes off Logan. "I've seen what Umbrella can do. If this is another one of their experiments—" "Lady, I got no idea what you're talking about." Logan's voice came out as a growl. "I woke up in an alley 20 minutes ago with no memory and a city full of dead people trying to eat me. You want to shoot me? Go ahead. Won't be the first time today, I'm guessing. But those things are about to break through that door, and you're down to what? Half a magazine." Jill's jaw tightened. She glanced at the shelf, already shifting as the undead pressed against it. Danny and the other cop, older with sergeant's stripes, had maybe a dozen rounds between them. "Umbrella Corporation," she said finally, lowering the gun slightly. "Pharmaceutical company. Or that's what they tell everyone. Really, they make bioweapons for the military. Viruses, parasites, things that turn people into... She gestured at the door. That. And you think I'm one of their projects? You've got metal claws coming out of your hands and you heal like you've got the T-virus, except you're not a mindless cannibal. Yeah, I think Umbrella might be interested in you. The shelf cracked. Hands pushed through the gap, grasping blindly. Logan's claws extended again. We can finish this conversation somewhere else. Where's the exit? Back room leads to an alley, but it's crawling out there. Jill reloaded her Beretta with practiced efficiency. We need to reach the police station. It's fortified, has weapons, supplies, maybe survivors. How far? 8 blocks. She met his eyes. Through hell. The sergeant, name tag read Williams, spoke up. We'll never make it on foot. Not with this many. Then we find a vehicle. Logan moved to the shelf, bracing it with his shoulder as the undead pushed harder. The wood groaned. Question is, can you folks keep up? Jill's expression hardened. I'm STARS, Special Tactics and Rescue Service. Danny and Williams are good cops. We'll keep up. STARS. The word triggered something, a flash of memory. Men in black tactical gear, syringes and surgical lights, screaming. Pain. His own voice, raw and desperate. My name is Logan. He shook his head, clearing the fog. Later. Deal with it later. All right. On 3, we run for the back. Don't stop. Don't look back. If something grabs you, you're on your own. Danny's face went pale, but he nodded. Williams checked his revolver. 4 rounds left. Jill moved to the back room, gun up. Clear. Doors locked, but... Logan pushed past her and drove his fist through the wooden door. Then his claws through the lock mechanism. The door swung open to reveal a narrow alley. Rain poured down, turning the pavement into a dark mirror. Bodies lay scattered, some moving, others still. There, Williams pointed. A police cruiser sat 30 yards away, driver's door open. Engine was probably dead, but maybe... The shelf exploded inward. Undead poured through like a breaking dam. Go, Logan roared. They ran. The alley exploded into chaos. Logan took point, claws flashing as he cut down anything that moved. Behind him, Jill's Beretta barked in controlled bursts. 2 rounds, shift target, 2 more. Williams and Danny fired when they had clear shots, but mostly they ran, boots splashing through water and worse. A corpse lurched from behind a dumpster. Logan's claws took its head off without breaking stride. Another grabbed at Danny from a doorway. Williams put 2 in its skull before it could bite down. The cruiser, Jill shouted. They were 15 yards away when Logan heard it, a sound that didn't belong. Engines, multiple vehicles, heavy ones. His enhanced hearing picked up radio chatter, professional voices using military brevity codes. Contact, all units. Primary target spotted. Sector 7G. Authorization, capture alive. Primary target? 3 Humvees rounded the corner ahead, mounted spotlights stabbing through the rain. Men in black tactical gear poured out, weapons raised. Not police. These guys moved like special forces, smooth, coordinated, lethal. Each wore a patch on their shoulder, a red and white umbrella. Freeze, hands up now, Jill cursed and pulled Danny and Williams behind a car. Umbrella Security Service, USS. They're the cleanup crew. Logan didn't raise his hands. Those the guys who made this mess? Made it, then got sent in to cover it up. She peered around the car. They shoot anyone who knows too much. The lead operative stepped forward, assault rifle aimed at Logan's chest. Subject X-24, you're coming with us. Wrong guy. Logan's claws gleamed in the spotlight. And I ain't going nowhere. Neural implants must have malfunctioned. The operative spoke into his radio. Target is disoriented. Prepare tranq rounds. Something roared. Not an engine, not a person. Something else. The sound came from above, a deep, guttural bellow that froze everyone in place. Logan's instincts screamed danger. His head snapped up just as a massive shape dropped from the pharmacy roof, landing in the middle of the USS Squad with bone-crushing force. It stood 7 feet tall, a mountain of muscle wrapped in a black leather coat. Its face was a nightmare of exposed teeth and dead eyes. Metal staples held patches of flesh together like a stitched corpse, and its right hand had been replaced with a rocket launcher grafted directly to the stump. The creature's gaze locked onto Logan. It spoke. Voice like gravel in a blender. STARS. Then it opened fire. The rocket launcher screamed. Logan dove left as the warhead streaked past, impacting a Humvee. The vehicle exploded in a ball of orange flame, flipping end over end. USS operatives scattered, some burning, others cut down by shrapnel. Nemesis! Jill's voice cracked with something Logan had never heard from her, pure terror. Run! Now! The creature, Nemesis, turned toward her voice, its remaining eye fixed on Jill with unmistakable recognition. STARS, it repeated, raising the rocket launcher. Logan moved without thinking. He sprinted forward and slammed into Nemesis's side with everything he had. It was like hitting a concrete wall. The creature barely shifted, but the rocket went wide, blowing apart a storefront. Nemesis backhanded him. Logan flew 20 feet, crashed through a window, and rolled to his feet inside what had been a clothing store. Blood poured from his nose and mouth. Ribs cracked. He felt them grinding as his healing factor kicked in, sealing bones and torn tissue. Through the shattered window, he watched Nemesis advance on Jill's position. The USS operatives were regrouping, laying down fire, but their bullets just sparked off the creature's hide. It didn't even slow down. Danny broke cover, firing his pistol. Get away from her! Nemesis's tentacle, Logan hadn't seen the writhing appendage hidden under its coat, lashed out and wrapped around Danny's throat. The young cop's scream cut off as the tentacle tightened. Bones cracked. No! Williams charged, emptying his revolver into Nemesis's face. The creature dropped Danny's corpse and grabbed Williams with its free hand. It lifted the sergeant like a child's toy and drove him into the pavement. Once, twice, the third impact painted the street red. Jill was shooting now, Beretta bucking in her hands, tears streaming down her face. You son of a bitch! I'll kill you! Logan exploded from the store window. His claws drove into Nemesis's back, piercing the leather coat and the diseased flesh beneath. The creature roared and spun, but Logan held on, climbing its back like a wildcat. His claws found its neck, its skull, searching for something vital to cut. Nemesis reached back and grabbed him. The tentacle wrapped around his torso, crushing ribs, and slammed him into the ground hard enough to crack pavement. Logan's vision blurred. His healing factor was working overtime, but there were limits. Push him hard enough, fast enough, and even he could be overwhelmed. The creature raised its foot to stomp his head. A grenade rolled between them. Jill's voice, "Fire in the hole!" Logan rolled away as the explosive detonated. Nemesis staggered back, its coat shredded, chunks of flesh missing. But it was still standing, still functional. Jill grabbed Logan's arm and hauled him up. The cruiser! Move! They ran. Behind them, Nemesis roared again, but the remaining USS operatives had formed a perimeter, laying down suppressing fire. For now, it was focused on them. Logan and Jill reached the police cruiser. She jumped in the driver's seat while he took the passenger side, claws still extended, watching their six. Come on, come on! Jill turned the key. The engine turned over, caught, roared to life. She slammed it into drive and floored the accelerator. The cruiser fishtailed, found traction, and shot forward. In the rearview mirror, Logan watched Nemesis tear through the USS squad, hunting for them. Hunting for Jill. "What the hell was that thing?" Logan asked. Jill's hands shook on the wheel. Her voice came out hollow. "Umbrella's solution to witnesses. They call it the Nemesis T-type. Its programming is simple. Eliminate all STARS members." She swallowed hard. Danny and Williams. They weren't even STARS. They just got in the way. "It knew you." "I survived Umbrella's last outbreak. Me and my team. They made sure we'd never forget it." She took a corner hard, narrowly missing a cluster of undead. "That thing won't stop. It can't. It'll hunt me across this entire city until one of us is dead." Logan looked at her. Really looked. Saw the exhaustion, the grief, the determination burning behind her eyes. She'd lost people, maybe a lot of people, and she kept fighting anyway. "Then we make sure it's not you," he said. Jill glanced at him, surprise flickering across her face. "Why? You don't even know me." "Don't have to," Logan retracted his claws. "Someone's got to give a damn." For the first time since they'd met, Jill almost smiled. "Police station's 3 blocks ahead. We get there, fortify, and figure out how to survive until dawn." "And then what?" Her expression hardened. "Then we make Umbrella pay for every single person who died tonight." The cruiser screamed through the rain toward whatever waited ahead. The Raccoon City Police Department building rose from the chaos like a fortress under siege. Barricades ringed the perimeter, overturned cars, sandbags, concrete barriers. Bodies in police uniforms lay scattered across the steps, some still, others crawling with broken legs toward the sealed front doors. Gunfire echoed from inside. Jill brought the cruiser to a screeching halt 50 yards out. "We'll never make it through the front. Too exposed." Logan's eyes tracked movement on the roof. Snipers. 2 of them scanning the streets. Somebody's still alive in there. Question is, are they friendly? Jill checked her Beretta. 10 rounds left. Could be USS. Could be survivors who shoot first. A zombie lurched toward the cruiser, drawn by the engine noise. Logan opened the door and drove his boot into its chest, sending it sprawling. More were converging from side streets. Dozens, maybe hundreds. The noise had drawn them like moths to flame. "We're gonna be swimming in them soon," Logan growled. "Make the call." Jill keyed the cruiser's radio. "This is STARS Officer Jill Valentine requesting entry. 2 survivors approaching from the east. Do not fire. Repeat, do not fire." Static. Then a male voice, young and tense. "STARS, I thought you were all dead." "Not yet. Open a door before we join them." More static. The snipers on the roof shifted, rifles tracking toward them. "Copy that. East side entrance, 30 seconds. Move fast." Jill killed the engine. "That's our window. Stay close." They ran. The horde pressed in from all sides, a tide of rotting flesh and grasping hands. Logan took point again, claws carving paths through the mass. A police officer, jaw hanging by tendons, grabbed his ankle. He stomped its skull flat without breaking stride. The east entrance was a reinforced steel door, still sealed. Through the narrow window, Logan saw figures moving inside, armed, tense. "Open up!" Jill pounded on the door. The locks disengaged with a heavy clunk. The door swung inward. Logan and Jill dove through, and 3 cops immediately slammed it shut behind them. Deadbolts slid home. Fists and bodies thudded against the outside, but the door held. For now. Logan retracted his claws and took in their surroundings. They were in a maintenance corridor, dimly lit by emergency lighting. 6 officers stood guard, weapons drawn. 3 men, 3 women, all running on empty. Fear and exhaustion carved lines into their faces. A rookie with blonde hair and scared eyes stepped forward. "You're really STARS? I'm Officer Leon Kennedy. I just transferred here yesterday." "Perfect timing," Jill muttered. She scanned the corridor. "How many survivors?" 12 when we sealed the building. Lost 2 trying to rescue civilians." Leon's eyes drifted to Logan, taking in the blood-soaked clothes and metal claws. "Who's your friend?" "Name's Logan. He paused. What was he? Just trying to stay alive. One of the female officers, name tag Marvin, spoke up. "He one of Umbrella's?" "He's with me," Jill said flatly. "Where's Chief Irons?" The officers exchanged glances. Marvin's expression darkened. "Locked in his office. Won't come out. We've been hearing sounds, screaming." "Sounds like Irons," Jill said bitterly. "Anybody know what caused this?" Leon pulled out a crumpled report. "Near as we can tell, it started at the Arclay Labs outside town. Some kind of viral outbreak, spread to the water supply, then person to person. Umbrella's been stonewalling federal investigators for weeks." He looked at Jill. "Your team tried to blow the whistle, then most of you disappeared." "They didn't disappear. Umbrella disappeared them." Jill's voice was ice. "We're the last loose ends." A radio on Marvin's belt crackled. "This is Command Post Alpha. Any RPD units respond. Quarantine is in effect. No one leaves the city. Anyone attempting to breach the perimeter will be shot on sight." Static. Then a different voice, this one cold and professional. "All USS units be advised. High-value target confirmed in RPD building. Primary objective, secure subject X-24 alive. Secondary objective, eliminate STARS Officer Valentine. Authorized lethal force." Every eye turned to Logan. "X-24? Leon's hand drifted toward his pistol. "What the hell is that?" "Don't know." Logan met Jill's gaze. "But I'm guessing it's me." Marvin raised her shotgun. "You're the reason Umbrella's coming here." "Stand down, Marvin." Jill stepped between them. "Logan didn't choose this, and we need him if we're going to survive. He's bringing death to our door. Death's already here." Jill's voice cracked like a whip. "Look around. The city's gone. Umbrella owns the quarantine. They'll kill every witness, burn the evidence, and disappear like they always do. Our only chance is to find proof. Something we can take to the media, the military, somebody who'll listen." "Proof?" Leon asked. "Of what?" "That Umbrella created this nightmare. That they've been doing it for years." Jill turned to Logan. "And maybe proof of what they did to you." Logan's jaw tightened. The flashes were coming faster now, memories surfacing like bodies from dark water. A laboratory, restraints, men in white coats injecting liquid metal into his bones while he screamed, a voice cold and clinical. Subject X-24 is responding to the bonding process. Healing factor is compensating for tissue damage. Proceed to stage 2. "They made me," he said quietly. "Weapon X, that's what they called it. Some kind of super soldier program." His claws extended involuntarily. "These aren't natural. They put them in me." "Then you're a victim too," Leon said. "That makes you one of us." Marvin lowered her shotgun, but her expression remained wary. "Even if that's true, Umbrella will level this building to get him back. We should turn him over, buy ourselves time to escape." "There is no escape," Jill said. "You heard the radio. Quarantine means shoot to kill. They're going to sterilize the city, probably with airstrikes or worse. Anyone inside when that happens is dead." A heavy boom echoed through the building. The lights flickered. "They're breaching," one of the male officers said, voice tight with panic. "Where?" Jill demanded. West entrance. Something big. The doors won't hold. Logan and Jill exchanged looks. They both knew what something big meant. Nemesis, Jill whispered. Another boom, closer. The building shook. Leon chambered around. What's the plan? Jill's mind was racing. Logan could see it, calculating odds, resources, escape routes. She'd done this before, survived the impossible. He had to trust she could do it again. Marvin, take 3 officers and fortify the second floor. Set up a fallback position in the STARS office. It's got armored doors and its own radio equipment. Jill turned to Leon. You and the others get every civilian to the underground parking garage. There's an old sewer access from Prohibition days. It leads to the industrial district. What about you two? Marvin asked. We're going to Irons's office. If Umbrella's files are anywhere, they're in the chief's safe. Jill checked her weapon. And we need to know what they're really after. Logan moved toward the corridor leading deeper into the station. Let's move. That thing out there isn't gonna wait. A third boom. The sound of tearing metal. Screams from the west wing. It's inside, Leon said. Jill grabbed Logan's arm. Stay with me. We get separated in here, you're dead. Lady, in case you haven't noticed, I'm hard to kill. So is that thing hunting me. The difference is it doesn't feel pain, doesn't get tired, and will not stop. Her eyes bored into his. You saved me out there. Let me return the favor. Logan nodded once. Lead the way. They ran deeper into the station as Nemesis's roar echoed through the halls behind them, a promise of violence that wouldn't be denied. Somewhere in the darkness, something was waiting. Umbrella's secrets, Logan's past, and the truth that might kill them both. The RPD building was a maze of corridors and locked doors, each one a potential death trap. Jill moved with practiced efficiency, navigating from memory while Logan's enhanced hearing tracked the chaos erupting throughout the station. Gunfire, screaming, the wet sound of bodies being torn apart. Nemesis was hunting. Second floor, west wing, Jill said, taking stairs 2 at a time. Irons's office has a private entrance. If we're lucky, he's already dead. And if we're not, then we make him talk before something else kills him. They reached the second floor landing. The STARS office was down one hall, Irons' office down another. Between them stood a gallery overlooking the main lobby and the carnage below. Logan looked over the railing and immediately wished he hadn't. The lobby was a slaughterhouse. 20, maybe 30 zombies had breached through the west entrance, overwhelming the barricades. Umbrella's USS operatives were inside now too, black-clad soldiers moving in formation, assault rifles cutting down anything that moved. Caught between the two forces were the RPD officers, outgunned, outnumbered, dying. Marvin was down there, shotgun empty, swinging it like a club. An operative raised his weapon to fire. Logan's claws extended. We got to help them. Jill grabbed his arm. We can't save everyone, not today. The hell we can't. The wall exploded. Nemesis burst through brick and plaster like it was paper, its rocket launcher smoking. It landed in the center of the lobby, crushing a zombie under its boots, and that single eye fixed on the gallery above. On Jill. STARS, it growled and raised the launcher. Move! Logan grabbed Jill and threw them both backward as the rocket screamed upward. The gallery disintegrated in fire and shrapnel. They tumbled through a doorway, hit the floor rolling, and came up running. Behind them, Nemesis roared and began climbing. It's coming, Jill gasped. It won't stop, Logan. Not until I'm dead. Then we kill it first. You can't kill it. It's a Tyrant-class bioweapon. I've seen conventional weapons bounce off those things. I've seen them survive fire, explosions. Nothing survives decapitation. Logan's claws gleamed. Not even that thing. They reached Irons' office. The door was locked, reinforced steel with a keypad. Jill cursed and started entering codes. "Come on, you paranoid bastard, what's your combination?" Footsteps thundered in the stairwell, heavy, methodical. Logan positioned himself between Jill and the hallway. "Work faster." "I'm trying. Irons changed the codes every week." The door clicked open. They burst inside and slammed it shut. Logan looked around for something to barricade with, but the office was pristine, too pristine. Mahogany desk, leather chairs, walls lined with hunting trophies, a mounted lion, a grizzly bear, something that might have been a gorilla. And in the corner, slumped in a chair, Chief Irons, or what was left of him. "Oh God," Jill whispered. Irons's chest had been torn open from the inside, ribs jutted out like broken fingers. Blood soaked his uniform, pooled on the floor, but his eyes were still open, staring at nothing. What the hell did this? Logan moved closer, claws ready. Something moved in Irons's chest cavity, something pale and glistening. Jill raised her Beretta. "Logan, back away, now." The creature burst from Irons's corpse in a spray of gore. It was small, maybe 3 feet long, but wrong in every way that mattered. Segmented body like an insect, eyeless head dominated by a mouth full of serrated teeth. It hissed and launched itself at Logan's face. His claws caught it midair, impaling it through the thorax. The thing thrashed, acidic blood spraying from the wounds. Where droplets hit Logan's skin, they sizzled and smoked. His healing factor sealed the burns almost instantly, but the pain was real. He slammed the creature into the wall, drove his claws deeper, and held it there until it stopped moving. "Facehugger," Jill said, voice hollow. "No, wait, wrong species. I don't know what that is." "Umbrella's greatest hits." Logan retracted his claws, letting the corpse fall. "They've been experimenting with parasites, biological weapons that incubate inside human hosts." She holstered her gun and moved to Irons's desk. "We need to find his files, evidence of what they're doing." Logan kept watch on the door while Jill rifled through drawers. The building shook again. Nemesis was close. He could hear it in the walls, tearing through obstacles, single-minded in its pursuit. "Got something." Jill pulled out a flash drive. "Encrypted files, but if we can get to a secure terminal." The door exploded inward. Nemesis filled the doorway, its coat shredded, flesh exposed and regenerating before their eyes. That rocket launcher swung toward Jill. Logan moved faster than thought. He charged Nemesis, driving his shoulder into the creature's midsection. It was like hitting a truck. But he'd hit trucks before. His claws found purchase in diseased flesh, and he drove them deep, climbing the monster's torso. Nemesis grabbed him with its free hand and squeezed, ribs cracked, organs compressed. Logan's healing factor screamed, trying to keep up. But he was close to its head now, close to that vulnerable neck. His claws flashed, once, twice, 3 times. Nemesis's head didn't come off. The spinal cord was too thick, reinforced with God knew what. But Logan opened the throat wide, severing arteries and esophagus. Black blood geysered. The creature dropped him and staggered back, one hand clutching its ruined neck. It tried to roar, but only a wet gurgle emerged. "Now!" Logan shouted. "While it's down!" Jill was already moving, heading for a second exit hidden behind a bookshelf. Logan followed, his body knitting itself back together as they ran. Behind them, Nemesis hit the floor with a crash that shook the building. But Logan knew, in his bones, in his gut, that it wasn't dead. Things like that didn't die easy. They burst into a records room, rows of filing cabinets stretching into darkness. Jill locked the door and leaned against it, breathing hard. "That was insane," she said. "You actually hurt it." "Won't last," Logan felt his ribs grinding as they realigned. That thing's healing almost as fast as I do. Then we need to move. There's a weapons locker 2 floors down. If we can get heavy ordnance, RPGs, incendiaries, maybe we can slow it long enough to escape. Escape to where? You said yourself, quarantine means no way out. Jill's expression hardened. Then we find another way. Underground tunnels, sewers. Maybe the subway system. This city has infrastructure Umbrella doesn't know about. A radio on one of the filing cabinets crackled to life. Attention all RPD personnel. This is federal authority. You have 30 minutes to evacuate the city limits. After that, sterilization protocols will be enacted. I repeat, 30 minutes to evacuate. Logan and Jill locked eyes. Sterilization, Logan said. That means missiles, probably bunker busters. They'll level everything. Jill grabbed the flash drive from her pocket. We need to get this evidence out. It's the only proof that Umbrella caused this. In 30 minutes, through a city full of zombies with Umbrella's private army and that thing hunting us. You got a better idea? Logan thought about it, about running, about finding a hole to crawl into and waiting for the bombs. But he looked at Jill, bloodied, exhausted, still fighting, and knew he couldn't. Someone had to give a damn. Weapons locker first, he said. Then we find a way out of this hellhole. Together. Logan extended his claws. Together. They moved deeper into the station, racing against a countdown neither of them could stop. The weapons locker was in the basement, past the holding cells and evidence room. Jill led them through service corridors, avoiding the main halls where gunfire still echoed. Logan's senses were on high alert, tracking every sound, every smell, cataloging threats. 27 zombies within a 100-yard radius. 5 USS operatives sweeping the East Wing, and somewhere above them, Nemesis, still hunting. How long have you been dealing with this? Logan asked as they descended a narrow stairwell. Umbrella. Years. The mansion incident was 3 months ago. My whole team went in, 12 of us. Only 5 made it out. Jill's voice was flat, emotionless, the way people talked when the grief was too deep to touch. They picked us off one by one after that. Car accidents, home invasions. Brad Vickers got torn apart by something in a downtown alley last week. And you kept fighting. What else was I supposed to do? They murdered my friends, turned my city into hell. She reached the basement level and paused at the door. Someone has to stop them. Logan understood that. The need for vengeance. He couldn't remember his own past clearly, but he knew the shape of it. Pain, betrayal, people who'd used him as a weapon. Weapon X. The name itself was a scar. After we're done here, he said, you're gonna need help. Taking down something like Umbrella. Jill looked at him, really looked. You do that? You don't even know me. Don't have to. Enemy of my enemy, right? She almost smiled. Right. The weapons locker door hung open, already breached. Inside, Leon Kennedy was loading a shotgun, his hands shaking. Blood covered his uniform, not his own. Leon? Jill entered carefully. What happened? The rookie looked up, eyes haunted. Marvin's dead. The USS shot her when she wouldn't tell them where you went. His voice cracked. They executed her. Just put a bullet in her head like she was nothing. Logan's claws extended involuntarily. The rage was there again, primal and hot. These Umbrella bastards killed without remorse, treated people like test subjects and loose ends. How many others? Jill asked. 3 officers made it to the garage with the civilians. The rest... Leon swallowed hard. The rest are gone. Jill moved to the weapons rack. Then we honor them by surviving, by making Umbrella pay. She grabbed a Remington 870, checked the chamber and tossed Leon a box of shells. How much time left? Leon checked his watch. 22 minutes. Not enough to reach the perimeter on foot. Logan scanned the locker. Assault rifles, grenades, even an RPG-7. We need a vehicle, something that can ram through barricades. Armored transport in the garage, Leon said. But it's locked down. Chief Irons had the only key. Irons is dead. Jill pulled out the flash drive. But maybe his files have the access codes. We'd need a computer, a secure terminal. STARS office has one. Jill loaded her shotgun. It's on the way. They gathered weapons, ammunition, grenades, anything that could slow down Nemesis or the USS, and moved out. The basement was a concrete tomb, fluorescent lights flickering, creating shadows that moved like living things. Logan took point again. His healing factor had closed the worst of his injuries, but he could feel the strain. Even he had limits, and this night was testing them. They were halfway to the stairs when Logan heard it, a wet, slithering sound, coming from the holding cells. "Something's here," he growled. Jill and Leon raised their weapons. The cells were dark, barred doors standing open. The USS must have released the prisoners, or whatever was left of them, as a distraction. A figure shambled into the light, female, mid-20s, wearing the remains of an orange jumpsuit. Her skin was mottled gray, eyes milky white. But she moved differently than the other zombies. Faster, more purposeful. "Crimson Head," Jill whispered. "They're what happens when the T-virus mutates. Faster, stronger, more aggressive." The creature's head snapped toward them. It screamed, not a moan, but a genuine shriek of rage, and charged. Logan met it head-on. His claws took it through the chest, pinning it to the wall, but the thing kept fighting, clawing at his face with blackened nails. Its teeth snapped inches from his throat. "Head!" Jill shouted. "Destroy the head!" Logan's other hand came up, claws punching through the creature's skull. It went limp instantly, but more were coming. 5, 10, crimson heads pouring from the cells like water from a broken dam. "Run!" Leon fired his shotgun, the blast taking down the lead creature. But the others kept coming fast as Olympic sprinters. They ran, up the stairs, through corridors, crimson heads shrieking behind them. Logan brought up the rear, his claws flashing whenever one got too close. These things were different. The T-virus had evolved them into something more dangerous, more alive. The STRS office was ahead. Jill hit the keypad, fingers flying. The door hissed open and they tumbled inside. Leon slammed it shut and engaged the locks. Fists pounded against the reinforced door, screaming, clawing. "They'll get through eventually," Leon said, backing away. "Then we work fast." Jill booted up the computer terminal. "Leon, watch that door. Logan, check the other entrance." Logan moved to the second door, the one leading to the chief's private corridor. His hearing picked up movement in the walls. Lots of movement. The building was overrun, infected flooding every level. And somewhere above, Nemesis was still coming. "Got it!" Jill pulled up Irons' files. Access codes, experimental data, communication logs with Umbrella headquarters. Her eyes widened. Jesus, they've been planning this for months. The outbreak wasn't an accident. It was a field test. A test? Leon's voice was hollow. They killed 100,000 people as a test? They wanted to see how the T-virus spread in an urban environment, how long until total infection, how effective military countermeasures would be. Jill's hands clenched. "We were all lab rats." Logan stared at the screen, saw names, dates, locations, Umbrella facilities across the globe, and one designation that made his blood run cold. Project Weapon X, subject retrieval authorized. "They're not just cleaning up," he said quietly. They're here for me. Jill pulled up another file, security footage from weeks ago, a convoy transporting someone, in a reinforced container. The footage was grainy, but Logan recognized the location, the Arklay Mountains, near where the mansion incident occurred. The container door was torn open from the inside, and there, covered in blood and rage, was Logan. "You escaped from them," Jill said. "That's why you have no memory. They wiped you, tried to turn you into a weapon, but you broke free. And I led them right back here." Logan's claws extended. "This is my fault." "No," Jill's voice was steel. "This is Umbrella's fault. You're a victim, just like everyone else." The door buckled. The crimson heads were breaking through. "Time's up," Leon said. "We need to move." Jill downloaded the files to the flash drive and pocketed it. "Garage, now!" They exited through the chief's corridor, moving fast. 14 minutes left. The building shook. Not from Nemesis this time, from something else, something outside. Logan recognized the sound. Helicopter rotors. Multiple helicopters. "They're evacuating," Jill said. "Umbrella's pulling out their people." "Without us," Leon added bitterly. They reached the garage entrance. The armored transport sat waiting, a beast of steel and bulletproof glass. Jill entered Irons' access codes, the doors unlocked with a heavy chunk. "Get in," she said. "I'll drive." Logan and Leon climbed into the back while Jill took the driver's seat. The engine roared to life. She threw it into gear. The garage door exploded. Nemesis stood in the opening, backlit by flames from the burning city. Its neck wound had healed, flesh knitting back together. That rocket launcher was gone, destroyed in their last fight. But its hands had become claws, 3-foot talons dripping with venom. It had adapted, evolved. STARS, it growled and charged. Jill floored the accelerator. The transport shot forward, 2 tons of armored vehicle aimed directly at the bioweapon. They collided. The impact was catastrophic. The transport's reinforced bumper caught Nemesis in the midsection, lifting it off its feet. For one impossible second, the creature was airborne, 7 feet of bioengineered death suspended in the air like a rag doll. Then it slammed onto the hood. Metal shrieked. The windshield cracked into a spiderweb of fractures. Nemesis's clawed hand punched through the glass, swiping at Jill's head. She jerked the wheel hard left, and the transport careened into a concrete support pillar. Nemesis flew off, crashed into a parked cruiser, and rolled to its feet in one fluid motion. "Go, go, go!" Logan shouted. Jill accelerated. The transport shot up the exit ramp, tires screaming. Behind them, Nemesis roared and gave chase, moving at speeds nothing that size should achieve. It was fast, highway speed fast, and gaining. They burst from the garage into hell. Raccoon City was burning, every building, every street, consumed by fire and chaos. Zombies filled the roads in wandering hordes, thousands strong. USS helicopters thundered overhead, spotlight beams cutting through smoke, and in the distance the wall. 30 feet of concrete and razor wire, guard towers every 100 yards, all of it designed to keep the infection contained, to keep them trapped. "Which way?" Leon yelled from the back. "East Gate." Jill swerved around an overturned bus. "It's the closest extraction point. They'll shoot us on sight." "Not if we're fast enough." Logan braced himself against the seat as Jill drove like she was possessed. She clipped zombies, crushed them under the wheels, plowed through abandoned cars. The transport was built for this. Urban warfare. Hostile environments, but even it had limits. A rocket streaked from above. USS helicopter, weapons hot. "Incoming!" Logan grabbed Leon and threw them both flat as the warhead impacted behind them. The explosion lifted the transport's rear wheels, and for a sickening moment they were airborne. They crashed down hard. The suspension screamed, but Jill kept control, kept driving. "They're trying to kill us." Leon pulled himself up, grabbed an assault rifle from the weapons rack. "Umbrella wants us dead. Not all of us." Logan's enhanced hearing picked up radio chatter from the helicopters. "They want me alive. You too, they'll vaporize." Another rocket. This one missed, cratering the street ahead. Jill swerved around the hole, tires smoking. In the rearview mirror, Logan saw it. Nemesis, still running, still gaining. The creature had grabbed onto a lamppost and swung itself forward, hurtling through the air like a missile. It landed on a zombie horde, crushing them flat, and continued its pursuit without breaking stride. "That thing doesn't quit," Jill muttered. "It can't." Logan checked his claws, still sharp, still deadly. "It's programmed to hunt you. It'll follow us straight through those gates." "Then we use it." Jill's eyes met his in the mirror. "Nemesis wants me. The helicopters want you. We give them both, right into their faces." Logan grinned. "I like the way you think." The east gate loomed ahead. Massive steel doors, sealed tight, guard towers bristling with weapons. Soldiers, regular military, not USS, manning the perimeter. Jill keyed the transport's radio. "This is Officer Jill Valentine, RPD, requesting emergency evacuation. We have critical evidence of Umbrella Corporation's bioweapon program." Static. Then a gruff voice. "Negative. RPD quarantine is absolute. Turn back or be fired upon. We have civilians, women and children. I'm sorry. Orders are orders." The guard towers opened fire. 50 caliber rounds hammered the transport, sparking off armor. The windshield finally gave way, disintegrating in a shower of glass. Wind and smoke poured in. "Hold on." Jill didn't slow down. "We're ramming it." "The gate." Leon's eyes went wide. "We'll never." "Not the gate. The guardhouse." She jerked the wheel right. The transport jumped the curb and plowed into the guard tower's supports. Metal screamed. The structure tilted, then toppled, soldiers jumping clear. It crashed into the gate mechanism, sparking and grinding. The gates shuddered, began to open. "Now!" Jill reversed hard, then accelerated toward the growing gap. The USS helicopters banked in, guns blazing. Rounds tore through the transport's roof. Leon returned fire through the shattered windshield, his assault rifle bucking. One helicopter veered off, trailing smoke. They were 10 yards from freedom when Nemesis landed on the hood. The transport's front end crumpled under the impact. The engine screamed. Nemesis's claws punched through metal, anchoring it to the vehicle. That nightmare face pressed against the broken windshield, inches from Jill. "STARS," it hissed. "Die." Logan moved without thinking. He kicked open the rear door and climbed onto the roof. Wind tore at him. The transport was still moving, Jill fighting to keep control despite the added weight. Nemesis sensed him. That massive head turned, locking onto new prey. "Yeah, that's right," Logan roared. "I'm right here." The creature released the hood and scrambled toward him. Logan met it halfway, claws extended. They collided on the transport's roof, trading blows that would have killed lesser beings. Logan drove his claws into Nemesis's ribs. The creature's talons raked his chest, opening furrows that immediately began healing. They grappled, rolling across the metal surface, neither gaining advantage. The transport shot through the gate opening. They were outside, beyond the quarantine zone, but the USS wasn't done. Both helicopters swung around, missile pods locking. "Logan!" Jill screamed. "Jump!" He couldn't. Nemesis had him in a death grip, claws buried in his shoulders. The creature was trying to tear his arms off. The missiles launched, 2 from each helicopter. 4 warheads streaking toward the transport. Logan made a choice. He grabbed Nemesis and twisted, using the creature's own momentum. They rolled off the transport side, hit the pavement in a tangle of limbs, and bounced apart. The transport kept going. The missiles followed. "No!" Logan tried to run after them, but Nemesis grabbed his ankle and slammed him into the ground. Once, twice. The pavement cracked. The missiles impacted. The transport exploded in a ball of orange fire that lit up the night. The blast wave threw Logan and Nemesis 100 feet in opposite directions. Logan crashed through a chain-link fence and tumbled into a drainage ditch. When he pulled himself up, ears ringing, vision blurred, the transport was a burning skeleton. Nothing could have survived that. Jill, Leon, gone. The rage that filled Logan was beyond reason, beyond thought. It was primal, absolute, the berserker fury that Weapon X had tried to weaponize. He threw back his head and roared. Nemesis rose from the rubble, already healing. It took one step toward Logan. He charged. They met in the middle with the force of colliding trains. Logan's claws found the creature's throat again, its chest, its face. He wasn't trying to kill it anymore. He was trying to destroy it, to erase it from existence. Nemesis fought back with equal savagery. Its claws opened wounds faster than Logan could heal. His blood mixed with the creature's ichor, painting the ground. They crashed through walls, demolishing buildings. Logan drove Nemesis into a gas station. The pumps exploded, engulfing them both in flames. Logan barely felt it. His healing factor worked overtime, but the pain was distant, unimportant. All that mattered was killing this thing. He found its spine and drove his claws through it. Nemesis convulsed, partially paralyzed. Logan grabbed its head with both hands, claws buried deep in the skull, and pulled. The creature's healing factor fought him. Flesh tried to knit back together, even as he tore it apart. "Stay down!" Logan roared. He pulled harder. Vertebrae cracked, spinal cord severed, arteries ruptured. Nemesis's body went limp. Logan held the massive head in his hands, breathing hard. The body collapsed at his feet. For a long moment he stood there, covered in blood, surrounded by fire, alone. Then he heard it, a cough, weak but alive. He spun. In the burning wreckage of the transport, movement. A door opening. Jill crawled out, dragging Leon behind her. Both were bloodied, burned, barely conscious, but alive. Logan's claws retracted. He ran to them, pulled Leon clear, then helped Jill away from the flames. "Thought you were dead," he said. Jill coughed up blood. "Takes more than that. We ejected through the floor hatch, before impact." Leon groaned. "Worst first day ever." Logan almost laughed. Would have if the situation weren't so dire. Helicopter engines, coming closer. More USS drawn by the explosions. "Can you walk?" Logan asked. "Can we stop them?" Jill countered, pulling out the flash drive, still intact. "Can we make this mean something?" Logan looked at the evidence, at these 2 survivors who'd fought beside him, at the burning city behind them. "Yeah," he said, "we can." He lifted Leon over his shoulder, helped Jill to her feet, and they moved into the darkness beyond the quarantine zone. Behind them, Nemesis's body began to twitch. They stumbled through industrial wasteland for what felt like hours. Abandoned factories loomed against the night sky, broken windows like dead eyes. Logan's healing factor was working overtime, closing the worst of his wounds, but exhaustion dragged at him. Even he had limits. Jill was in worse shape. Burns covered her arms and she limped badly. Leon had taken shrapnel to his leg and left a blood trail with every step. "Need to stop," Leon gasped. "Just for a minute." Logan spotted a warehouse ahead, door hanging open. "There, we can hide, regroup." They made it inside and collapsed against a wall. The space was vast and empty, filled with rusted equipment and rotting pallets. No lights, no movement, just darkness and the distant sound of helicopters searching the perimeter. Jill pulled out the flash drive with shaking hands. "We need to get this to someone. Media, military, someone who'll listen." "Umbrella owns the media," Leon said bitterly. "And half the military. Who's going to believe us?" "Someone has to." Jill's voice cracked. "Marvin, Danny, Williams, everyone who died tonight, it can't be for nothing." Logan checked the warehouse entrance. Clear for now. But the USS would expand their search grid eventually. They had maybe an hour before this place was compromised. "There's a federal building in the next city," Leon said. "FBI field office. If we can reach it, show them the evidence." "We're fugitives now," Jill interrupted. "The moment we surface, Umbrella will know. They'll send everything they have." "Then we don't surface." Logan turned to face them. "We go underground, find people who already hate Umbrella. Build a network." "What people?" "Survivors of their other tests, families of victims, whistleblowers." Logan's claws extended slightly. "People like me." Jill studied him. "You remember something?" "Fragments." Logan's jaw tightened. "Weapon X wasn't their only project. I heard them talking when they thought I was unconscious. They have facilities everywhere. Spencer Mansion was one, Rockfort Island, Antarctica. They're building an empire of bioweapons." "Then we tear it down," Jill said, "piece by piece." Leon pulled himself up. "I'm in. I didn't survive tonight just to run and hide." "This won't be quick," Logan warned. "Could take years, and Umbrella will hunt us every step." "Good." Jill's eyes burned with cold fury. "Let them come." A sound outside, vehicle engines, multiple trucks moving in formation. Logan moved to a window. Through the grime, he saw them. 5 Umbrella transport trucks, black as sin, pulling into the industrial complex. Soldiers deployed, moving with military precision. "They found us," he growled. "How?" Leon checked his gear. "We didn't leave a trail. Tracking devices." Jill's face went pale. "The USS fires them in their ammunition. I've got one in me somewhere." Logan's enhanced vision picked out more details. The soldiers weren't normal USS. These wore different armor, heavier, experimental, and they moved wrong. Too fast, too coordinated. "Those aren't human," he said. "Tyrants." Jill's voice was hollow. "Mass-produced bioweapons in human form, enhanced strength, limited intelligence, programmed to follow orders. How many can they field? Dozens, maybe hundreds." She clutched the flash drive tighter. "We need to run. Now!" But Logan's hearing picked up something else. Another engine sound coming from the opposite direction. Civilian vehicle, moving fast. A van screeched to a halt behind the warehouse. The door flew open and a woman jumped out, early 40s, dark hair, carrying a sniper rifle. "Jill Valentine," she called. "I'm here to extract you." Jill and Logan exchanged glances. "Who the hell is that?" "No idea, but she's our only option." They ran for the van. The woman provided cover fire, her rifle barking. 2 tyrants dropped, headshots perfectly placed. "Move," she shouted. "They're breaching from the east." Logan grabbed Leon and threw him into the van. Jill dove in after. Logan turned to follow. A tyrant crashed through the warehouse wall, 8 feet tall, muscles bulging under gray skin. It grabbed Logan with both hands and lifted him like a toy. "Go!" Logan roared at the woman. "Get them out!" "Not without you!" The woman's rifle cracked. The round took the tyrant in the eye. It staggered but didn't release Logan. His claws found its wrists, slashed through tendons and bone. The hands released him and he drove his claws up through its jaw and into its brain. The tyrant collapsed. "Impressive," the woman said. "Now get in the van before more arrive." Logan didn't argue. He jumped in and the woman floored the accelerator. The van shot forward, tires smoking. Behind them, the tyrants converged on the warehouse, too slow to catch them. The woman drove like a professional, evasive maneuvers, switching routes, doubling back to confuse pursuit. After 10 minutes, she seemed satisfied they'd lost the tail. "Who are you?" Jill demanded, gun still drawn. "Ada Wong, freelance intelligence operative." The woman's eyes met Jill's in the mirror. "I've been monitoring Umbrella for years. When I heard about Raccoon City, I knew they'd try to bury the evidence and the witnesses. Why help us? Because Umbrella killed someone I cared about, and I've been waiting for a chance to hurt them." Ada pulled out a secure phone. "That flash drive you're carrying, it's valuable, but it's not enough. We need more. Personnel files, research data, financial records." "Where do we get that?" Leon asked. "Umbrella's offshore facility. It's where they coordinate their black projects." Ada's smile was cold. "And where they store their crown jewel, the original strain of the progenitor virus, the source of all their bioweapons." Logan leaned forward. "You're talking about infiltrating their headquarters. I'm talking about burning it to the ground." Ada glanced at him. "And I hear you're very good at that." Jill's hand tightened on her weapon. "How do you know about him?" "I know Umbrella tried to recapture Subject X-24 tonight. I know they failed. And I know Logan here is exactly what we need to hit them where they live." "This is a suicide mission," Leon said. "Probably." Ada's expression didn't change. "But it's the only way to stop them. Take out their research, expose their crimes, and maybe prevent another Raccoon City." Silence filled the van. Logan looked at Jill and Leon, saw their exhaustion, their pain, the weight of what they'd survived. "I'm in," he said. Jill nodded slowly. "Me too." Leon sighed. "First day on the job, and I'm already committing corporate espionage. My parents would be so proud." Ada smiled. "Welcome to the war. We leave in 48 hours. Until then, we hide, heal, and plan." "And after?" Jill asked. "After we destroy their facility?" "After we disappear, live in the shadows, hit them again and again until there's nothing left." Ada's eyes were steel. "Umbrella thinks they own the world. We're going to teach them they're wrong." The van drove into the night, carrying 4 survivors toward an uncertain future. Behind them, the fires of Raccoon City painted the horizon red. By dawn, the sterilization protocols would activate. Missiles would fall. The city would be erased, and with it, evidence of Umbrella's crimes. But the evidence Jill carried would survive, and so would the people who knew the truth. Logan stared at his claws in the dim light. Weapon X, Subject X-24, a tool someone had tried to build. But tools could break their makers, and Logan was just getting started. The safe house was a forgotten motel on the outskirts of the next city, the kind of place where questions weren't asked and cash was king. Ada had secured 3 rooms, all ground floor with multiple exits. Professional paranoia. Logan sat on the edge of a bed, watching his reflection in the cracked mirror. The wounds from Nemesis were gone, not even scars remained, just smooth skin over adamantium bones. He flexed his hands, felt the claws waiting beneath the surface. What had they done to him? A knock at the door. Jill entered without waiting for an answer, carrying a first aid kit and 2 beers. "Thought you could use this?" She handed him a bottle and sat in the chair opposite. "And maybe someone to talk to." Logan took the beer but didn't drink. "You should be resting." "Can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see them. Danny." Williams. Marvin. Her voice remained steady, but her hands shook slightly. Everyone who died tonight. That's not on you, isn't it? Umbrella deployed Nemesis to kill STRS members. It was hunting me. Everyone who got in the way got killed by Umbrella. Logan's voice was firm. Not by you. You didn't create that thing. You didn't release the virus. You fought to save people. Jill was quiet for a long moment. You could have run. Back at the police station in the streets, you could have left us behind, saved yourself. Wouldn't have gotten far. They want me back in a cage. That's not why you stayed. She met his eyes. You stayed because you're not what they tried to make you. You're better than that. Logan thought about it. About the Weapon X program, the conditioning, the attempts to erase who he was and create a perfect killer. They'd failed. Something inside him, stubborn, defiant, fundamentally human, had refused to break. Maybe, he said, or maybe I'm just too mean to die. Jill smiled, the first genuine one he'd seen from her. I can work with mean. The door opened again. Ada entered with Leon, both carrying tactical gear and weapons. We move in 6 hours, Ada announced, spreading a map across the small table. Umbrella's offshore facility is here, 30 miles out in international waters. Small island, heavily fortified, submarine pens for covert transport. How do we get in? Leon asked. We don't. They bring us in. Ada tapped the map. Umbrella's evacuating key personnel from their compromised sites. I've arranged for us to intercept one of their transport submarines. We take their place, infiltrate the facility, and plant charges at the research labs and data centers. And then, Jill asked, then we get out before the entire place goes up. Logan studied the map. Security checkpoints, guard towers, kill zones. This place is designed to keep people out and in, which is why we need you. Ada looked at him. Your healing factor makes you the perfect point man. You can take damage that would kill the rest of us, push through their defenses, create openings. You want me to be bait. I want you to be our hammer. Jill and Leon provide tactical support. I handle infiltration and extraction. Ada's expression was cold calculation. We each do what we do best. And the people inside, Leon asked. Scientists, staff, they're not all complicit. Anyone working at that facility knows what Umbrella does. They've made their choice. Ada's voice held no sympathy. We're not there to save them. Jill nodded slowly. This is war, and in war there are casualties. Logan saw the change in her. The STARS officer who'd tried to save everyone was gone, burned away in Raccoon City's fires. What remained was harder, colder. A soldier who understood that some fights required sacrifice. 6 hours, he said. Then we hit them. They spent the remaining time preparing. Ada provided gear, tactical suits, encrypted communications, enough explosives to level a city block. Leon cleaned and loaded weapons with the methodical precision of someone finding comfort in routine. Jill memorized facility layouts, marking primary and secondary objectives. Logan sharpened his claws. Not physically, they couldn't be dulled, but mentally. He focused on the rage, the primal fury that Weapon X had tried to weaponize. Instead of fighting it, he embraced it, controlled it, made it a tool. Umbrella had created something in him they couldn't control. Tonight, they'd learn the cost of that mistake. At dawn, they moved. The submarine interception went smoothly. Ada's intelligence was perfect. The transport sub surfaced at the designated coordinates, crew unsuspecting. Logan boarded first, claws ending the threat before anyone could raise an alarm. Quick, clean, necessary. They dumped the bodies, changed into Umbrella uniforms, and dove. The journey took 2 hours. 2 hours of tension, of checking weapons, of preparing for what came next. Leon looked sick. Jill was focused, her mind clearly running through combat scenarios. Ada remained eerily calm, like this was just another day at the office. Maybe for her it was. The submarine docked at the facility's underwater entrance. Automated systems engaged, airlocks cycling. They had minutes before someone noticed the sub's transponder codes were wrong. "Weapons free," Ada said quietly. "No mercy, no hesitation." They entered the facility like avenging angels. The first guards died before they knew they were under attack. Logan's claws opened throats. Jill's suppressed pistol coughed twice and 2 more dropped. Leon and Ada moved in practiced sync, clearing corners, securing corridors. But stealth could only last so long. An alarm shrieked. Red lights bathed the corridors. Blast doors began cycling shut. "They know we're here," Leon shouted. "Good," Logan growled. "Let them come." They came in waves, security personnel, armed with assault rifles and body armor. Logan took point, absorbing rounds that would have killed the others. His healing factor worked overtime, sealing bullet wounds, but the pain was real. Useful. It kept him sharp. He was a whirlwind of adamantium and fury, cutting through Umbrella's defenses like they were paper. Behind him, Jill, Leon, and Ada capitalized on the chaos, their marksmanship surgical. They fought through 3 levels, leaving carnage in their wake. Scientists fled. Some begged for mercy. Logan gave them a choice: run or die defending Umbrella's secrets. Most ran. They reached the research level. Banks of computers hummed, storing decades of bioweapon research. Containment tanks lined the walls, things floating in amber fluid, nightmares wearing flesh. "Plant the charges," Ada commanded. 5-minute timer. "We need to reach the submarine before." The wall exploded. A creature emerged from the smoke, 10 feet of twisted muscle and bone, multiple arms ending in scything claws, a head that was more mouth than face. Experimental, unfinished, utterly lethal. Tyrant prototype. Jill raised her weapon. The creature moved impossibly fast. One arm swept Leon aside, sending him crashing into computer banks. Another caught Jill's leg, lifting her off the ground. Logan charged. His claws found purchase in the creature's torso, but it barely noticed. It threw Jill into Ada, and both women went down hard. The prototype focused on Logan. It recognized him as the primary threat. They collided in a fury of claws and rage. Logan went for weak points: eyes, throat, joints. But the thing adapted, its body shifting to compensate. This wasn't like Nemesis. This was smarter, more evolved. It drove him backward, through a containment tank. Glass shattered. Chemicals burned his skin. His healing factor struggled to keep up. "Logan!" Jill was up, firing her shotgun point blank into the creature's back. It turned, backhanding her across the room. Enough. Logan's vision went red. The berserker rage took over, and he stopped thinking, stopped planning. He became pure instinct and violence. His claws found the creature's spine and severed it. Found its hearts, it had 3, and pierced them all. Found its brain and scrambled it into paste. The prototype collapsed. Logan stood over it, breathing hard, covered in blood and chemicals. His hands shook. "We're out of time," Ada said, pulling herself up. "The charges are set. 2 minutes." They ran, through corridors filled with fleeing personnel, past laboratories where decades of horrors had been conceived. Upstairs, toward the submarine bay. The facility shook. The charges were detonating early, maybe damaged in the fight, maybe just faulty. It didn't matter. They had seconds. The submarine bay was chaos. Staff scrambling for escape pods, guards shooting at shadows. Logan cleared a path with pure aggression, and they reached their stolen sub. Leon fired up the engines. Jill sealed the hatches. Ada initiated emergency departure protocols. The submarine lurched forward, diving deep as explosions ripped through the facility above. Fire bloomed in the water. Metal screamed. The shockwave hit them like a physical blow, sending the sub spinning. Leon fought for control. "Hull integrity at 60%. We're taking on water." "Can we make it to shore?" Jill demanded. "Maybe. If nothing else goes wrong." Something massive shifted in the water behind them. Logan's enhanced hearing picked it up through the hull. Something huge, something alive. "They've got aquatic bioweapons," Ada said quietly. "Of course they do." Whatever it was following them. But the sub kept moving, kept diving, and slowly, painfully slowly, the facility's death throes faded into the distance. They'd done it. Destroyed Umbrella's crown jewel, stolen their research data, and survived. The submarine limped into a coastal cave system 20 miles from the nearest city. The hull groaned, water seeping through compromised seals, but it held together long enough for them to evacuate. They waded through shallow water to a rocky shore, hauling equipment and the precious data drives Ada had extracted. Leon collapsed against a boulder, his leg finally giving out. "I'm officially retiring from law enforcement." Jill laughed, a harsh, exhausted sound. "You lasted one whole day. That's got to be a record." Ada was already on her encrypted phone, coordinating extraction. "I have contacts in the media, people who can't be bought. We'll release the data simultaneously across multiple platforms. Umbrella won't be able to suppress it all." "They'll deny everything," Logan said, watching the cave entrance. "Claim it's fabricated. Let them. The evidence is overwhelming. Video footage of their experiments, financial records proving government collusion, testimony from survivors." Ada's smile was razor-sharp. "By tomorrow, Umbrella's stock will crash, investigations will launch, and people will know the truth." "It won't bring back the dead," Jill said quietly. "No, but it might prevent the next Raccoon City." They sat in silence for a while, listening to water drip and their own ragged breathing. Logan felt the weight of exhaustion finally settling over him. His healing factor could repair tissue, but it couldn't erase fatigue. "What happens now?" Leon asked. "To us? We disappear," Ada said. "Umbrella still has resources, assets, people who'll want revenge." She looked at each of them in turn. "You can't go back to your old lives. You're ghosts now, dead as far as the world knows." "Good," Jill said. "I'm done with the world I knew. It was built on lies anyway." "I never had an old life to go back to," Logan added. His memories were still fragments, pieces of a puzzle he might never complete. But maybe that was okay. Maybe who he'd been mattered less than who he chose to be now. "So we start over," Leon said. "New identities, new purpose." "We hunt," Jill's voice was steel. "Umbrella has facilities across the globe, research sites, testing grounds. Wherever they've built their empire of monsters, we tear it down." Ada nodded. "I have intelligence on 17 confirmed sites, probably dozens more hidden deeper." "Then we've got our work cut out for us." Logan extended his claws, watching light play across adamantium. "And this time, we know what we're fighting." A helicopter appeared on the horizon, Ada's extraction right on schedule. It set down outside the cave, rotors washing spray across the rocks. They boarded without looking back. Below them, the ocean kept its secrets. The facility was gone, sunk into dark water where evidence would corrode and fade. But the data survived. The truth survived. And so did they. As the helicopter banked toward the mainland, Logan watched the sunrise paint the clouds gold and red. Somewhere out there, Umbrella executives were waking to disaster. Stock portfolios evaporating, law enforcement closing in, their carefully constructed empire crumbling. It wouldn't be enough. It would never be enough for the 100,000 dead in Raccoon City. But it was a start. Jill sat beside him, cleaning her weapon with methodical care. "You thinking about staying with us?" "Was thinking about it," Logan admitted. "You folks seem to attract the kind of trouble I'm good at. We could use someone who can't die. I can die. Just takes more effort than most," she smiled. "Good to know you have limits. Makes you almost human." "Almost," he agreed. Leon was asleep in the back, exhausted beyond endurance. Ada piloted the helicopter with professional detachment, already planning their next move. These were his people now, his team, the only family that mattered in a world where his past was stolen and his future uncertain. They flew toward an uncertain dawn, 4 survivors bound by blood and purpose. Behind them, the smoke from Umbrella's facility stained the sky, a monument to corporate evil, a warning to those who'd continue its work. But ahead was possibility. Justice, redemption, and for Logan, maybe the chance to be more than a weapon. The helicopter disappeared into the sunrise, carrying ghosts toward a war that had only just begun. 3 days later, the world erupted. News networks across the globe broadcast leaked footage. Umbrella's laboratories, their bioweapons, the systematic cover-up of Raccoon City. Financial records proved decades of illegal weapons development. Video testimony from survivors, Jill Valentine, Leon Kennedy, others who'd escaped the nightmare, painted a picture of corporate evil unprecedented in modern history. Umbrella's stock collapsed. Criminal investigations launched in 14 countries. Executives fled or lawyered up. The company that had operated in shadows for decades was dragged screaming into daylight. But Logan knew better than to celebrate. Umbrella was Hydra-headed. Cut off one facility, 2 more would surface. Some executives would fall, but others would escape with research, funding, and ambition intact. The war wasn't over. It had only just begun. In a safe house outside Prague, Logan stood at the window watching rain fall on ancient cobblestones. Behind him, Ada coordinated with contacts worldwide. Jill cleaned weapons. Leon studied facility blueprints. They were planning their next target, an Umbrella Black site in Eastern Europe, where genetic experiments continued under a shell corporation's protection. Logan's reflection stared back at him from the rain-streaked glass. He still didn't remember everything. Might never remember. But he knew enough. He was Logan. Not Subject X-24. Not Weapon X. Not a tool or a weapon or an experiment. He was a man who'd chosen to fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves. Who'd found purpose in protecting the vulnerable and punishing the guilty. Who discovered that healing wasn't just physical, it was moral. And he'd found others who understood that. Jill, haunted by loss but driven by unshakable principle. Leon, thrust into horror on his first day but refusing to break. Ada, coldly professional but committed to a justice the system couldn't provide. Together, they were something Umbrella should fear. "Logan," Jill called, "we're moving in 48 hours. You ready?" He turned from the window, claws extending and retracting in a smooth rhythm. "Ready?" He'd been ready since waking in that Raccoon City alley, since choosing to fight instead of flee, since realizing that some wars were worth the cost. "Yeah," he said, "I'm ready." Outside, the rain continued falling on a world that would never be the same. Umbrella's empire was crumbling, but monsters still lurked in shadows. Bioweapons still waited in frozen storage. And somewhere, in laboratories hidden from scrutiny, scientists continued playing God. But now they had opposition. Now they had ghosts who couldn't be bought, threatened, or killed. Now they had Wolverine. The war against Umbrella would span years, cross continents, cost lives, but every facility they destroyed, every victim they saved, every truth they exposed would matter, would mean something. And when the final reckoning came, when Umbrella's last laboratory burned and its last executive faced justice, Logan would be there. Not as a weapon, as a man who'd chosen to give a damn. May the Force be with you. More stories await.